Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the webinar AI in Adult Education, Preparing Learners and Helping Educators for Today and Tomorrow. So before I turn it over to our very own Jeff Arnott, I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Treg Hopkins with our valued sponsors at Connectable.
Thank you so much, and a special thanks to COABE as well for bringing us this wonderful opportunity to learn more about artificial intelligence. My name is Dr. Treg Hopkins, one of the co-founders of Connectable, and we represent 24 states and excited to be here today to sponsor this particular topic. As many of you know, we are a nonprofit membership organization like COABE that supports adult education programs. We see many of our members here in the session today and excited for you to learn more about artificial intelligence and how it's impacting the adult learner. If you would like to learn more about Connectable, you can visit us online at getconnectable.com. We're happy to show you a demo or talk to you about how artificial intelligence is improving our curriculum and our data systems that help you make all of your state and federal reporting a little bit easier. We have some new exciting curriculum rolling out in January of 2026, and we're really excited to see COABE come to Indianapolis next year. Be sure to attend one of our presentations, and we look forward to today's session.
Hello, everybody, and thank you, Dr. Trey. I definitely myself am going to call you up to learn a little bit more about all this particular stuff. First of all, welcome and hello. I hope everybody can hear me. Please let me know if you can't. My name is Dr. Jeff Arnott, and let me tell you a little bit about myself before we get into this wonderful webinar. What is artificial intelligence and how it can benefit the adult education community? When I say community, I mean everybody from your community, your students, your learners, to yourself, to your administrators, the whole 9 yards. So let's learn a little bit about it. First of all, let's learn a little bit about me. I'm Dr. Jeff Arnott. I have 30 years as an educator, all in Florida, even though I don't live there now. But I did 16 years in the administration field in adult education and career and technical education in 3 different districts in the Sunshine State, from Monroe County down in the Florida Keys to Brevard County on the Space Coast over to the Orlando area in Osceola County right before that. And even during that stint of 30 years, I took a break to help our family company out. So I've actually worked in manufacturing, mostly the auto parts manufacturing business in Florida. If you've ever heard of Arnott air suspension, that's the family. A lot of cars have them. And I've been the past president of ACE of Florida. That's our state association in the Sunshine State. And I'm a former member of the COABE board. I sat there proudly as the regional rep and also the secretary. Got my bachelor's from the University of Florida and my doctorate from the University of Pennsylvania. Go Gators. And currently I'm the president of my own company, Lot 12 Education. I'm also a senior advisor for Human XI, which is based in San Francisco. They recruited me to help them with their outreach and also to load in a lot of youth providers and so forth. So I'm really, really excited about that. It's the reason I moved to the West Coast. I have to fly to San Francisco about once a month. I'm also an adjunct professor, very proud of that, at St. Thomas University, located in Miami, and I reside in Las Vegas, Nevada itself. Anyway, here's a short little overview of the agenda. Basically, we're going to ask you, what is AI? What are the benefits of AI? AI for teachers and learners, free resources, and there's a toolkit that will be mailed out. And also, we'll put it in the link here in a little bit, too, an Adobe document that has this. So if you need it now, you'll get it, type of stuff. But anyway, when I was doing this, thinking about this webinar, I was thinking about my first ever interaction with AI. It kind of just creeped up on me, and it wasn't that long ago. When I was teaching a college class in Florida at a community college, I get this paper from a 15-year-old dual enrollment student that had everything was perfect in it. And not only that, they did everything in APA 7 that was just released 2 weeks before. And I was going like, my goodness, this student's a genius. And then I realized, well, there's something that they did here. So I actually called the parent because they were under 18. I could, and I asked them about it. And the parent was even telling me they used a lot of these AI tools. And I kind of had a big wake up call at that particular time on what it was. And how fast is it moving? And I'm sure everybody's got a story about their first interaction of AI. I know even working on my dissertation, there was a gentleman who was one of our advisors who was working on his doctorate himself, was actually doing his dissertation on AI. And I was asking him questions. And I thought, oh, this will be a flash in a pan. That was kind of my attitude then. Well, that's not my attitude now. But anyway, how fast is it moving? It is fast moving faster than the speed of light. I can tell you that working really close with an AI company now. It seems like there is this gold rush to get to this magic thing out there. From human based type of AI, robots, humanots, humabots, and all that stuff. It really is a very fast moving thing. The only thing I can compare it to was probably the around 2000, that whole .com boom. It's kind of like that. And I've been to a few of these investor events, and the money it's being thrown around on this is absolutely insane. So yeah, it's going to continue to grow and grow faster. In fact, this toolkit I'm going to give everybody, I had to go double check it last night because I've had to change it from the presentation I did 2 weeks ago. So it definitely is changing at that fast at lightning speed itself. But anyway, let's give a little background about what artificial intelligence is. And AI has been around for a while. In the toolkit, there's even a little history lesson in there. AI goes back to the 1950s. It's nothing new. And they've been chasing this dream for a long, long time. It's basically become more accessible since it became an open source technology, which allowed entrepreneurs and everybody else to go in there and really try to build something special out there. But it refers to a computer system designated to perform tasks that are typically required human intelligence. So, yeah, it is basically doing what our brain normally would do with problem solving, decision making, recognizing speech, and of course, learning from data and actually doing data analytics itself. There was this move, you might remember it. It wasn't that long ago that we were telling kids, you got to learn to code, got to learn to code. Well, AI can code just as quick now. Now we're going to teach people how to use AI to code, not necessarily how to code themselves. And a quick fact, some of these things have been going on for a while. Siri and Alexa, they're not necessarily AI tools. They kind of just integrate their information and kind of tell you what you want to hear. They don't necessarily do the analytics, but some of these recommendation systems do. I was on Netflix last night watching some cheesy movie, and it had my recommendations down there. I'm thinking like, well, I do like all these movies, and I have seen them 9 times. In fact, I decided to watch one movie for the 10th time, probably because of their recommendations. So it is pretty powerful, and it does work good. And Amazon, there's another one. It reminds me of the stuff I need to reorder, or it might say, hey, you might like this because we noticed you were doing this. It is pretty amazing of how quick it has moving and how convenient this science is itself. What's getting the big buzz today is generative AI. It is the artificial intelligence that creates new things like text, images, music, and we're going to do a couple here today. In fact, I put this in there since I'm a big proud Gator itself. I really like Gronk 2, and now they're Gronk 4, as an AI tool by X. And I have prompted to say, give me a dude in a Gator shirt at a tailgate party holding the sign up that says Gronk 2 is better than Chat GPT. Change my mind. And like I said, it's not perfect. Those aren't the exact University of Florida colors. I'd have to go in and redefine it a little bit more. And I noticed in the parking lot, they're all pickup trucks. When I said tailgate, I guess that's what they thought, all pickup trucks. And they're all white pickup trucks at that, too. I really would have to define that more. But that's the whole idea, is continuously prompting it to get what you one itself. But that was the first try, and it wasn't too bad. And the bigger picture even has like a barbecue grill right there beside the guy and stuff. So it's not too bad. And it's really starting. AI itself in the legal system is really starting to catch up a little bit and starting to align a little bit, which that wasn't the case before. ChatGPT can write poems, do pictures, do video games, can do movie scripts, makes create songs and everything. In fact, Hollywood and a lot of the creative artists out there are really feeling this as a threat. Will they be needed anymore? And I've actually seen some AI generated images and movies that look pretty good. Will we need movie actors and so forth? Those are things that potentially we're going to have to talk about. I know this group I work with in San Francisco, he was telling me he was thinking about creating a whole NFL football league with just players that are AI. I told him that I don't think that would necessarily fly, but I could be wrong. You never know. So that's what generative AI is, and that's the one that's getting all the buzz. And this term here, I just had to check up, so I figure I would let everyone know what it is. Everyone knows about Chat GPT, and I was wondering what is it? What is a GPT? So there it is. It's a generative pre-trained transformer, is what it stands for. It creates text and context to what the prompt is that you're putting in and it also just searches all the data out there in the world to try to create it. And as we know, data continues to grow and grow and grow. So this field that the GPT will go into will only get bigger and bigger, and you'll probably get better answers over time. I've seen Chat GPT and Perplexity and a few of these sites actually get better, and the responses are getting better, and they're sounding better, and it really in a short period of time, because ChatGPT does make mistakes, and they even put it on the bottom of their website. Please pre-check this. We make errors, or something of that nature. So don't always look at it as the absolute gospel, but it is getting better. Also, it's pre-trained. That's what the P stands for. A model is trained in advance on large amounts of text data, as we talked about, allowing to understand language patterns, context, and facts. In fact, ChatGPT, if you buy the version, pay for it, which I highly recommend, it actually learns your style and how you would react to it as well. And of course, the transformer. Is a deep learning model introduced in the 2017 paper, Attention is All You Need. Like I said, not that long ago. It relies on attention mechanisms to effectively process and understands relationship between words. In essence, GPT is an AI language capable of generating human-like text based on knowledge and patterns it has learned during trainings. And I find it too to be really good at helping you build reports and helping you to put data sets together. I think there's some wonderful things it does. And I personally believe that they have a long way to go in some areas, like trying to create PowerPoints or trying to create those things. Those are a little bit more difficult. I try to put things in and they're really messed up, and you really have to go in and really refine it a little bit more, especially when you're trying to use AI images. By the way, this PowerPoint was all done by me. AI itself is definitely a game changer. And it's just more than more education, even though that's what we're here to talk about. This is really starting to take place in the workplace, daily life, health. The medical field is really using AI pretty extensively to try to rule things out and potentially use it to help maybe cure some of our most deadly diseases. Basically, it does help us work smarter, not necessarily harder. And then there is, of course, those debates: will it take away jobs and so forth? That's something we're just going to have to wait and see. But I can tell you this much: by working with this AI company, there's a lot of jobs being created because of this new science as well. I personally believe it all levels out. But nevertheless, it definitely is doing that. I know in HR data, they can go through thousands of resumes with some of these AI and really try to find the 10 candidates that they feel would be best. And instead of spending hours and hours and hours of going through a screening committees and so forth to try to find the ideal candidate, it has made certain divisions of a lot of companies a whole lot more efficient. That is for sure. And how about for adult education? How is it helping students, and how is it helping teachers? Students themselves, I think this is the biggest thing. And there has been tools out there for quite a long time that actually has been AI driven. When I think of Tops Pro and some of these programs by TABE and so forth that give these personalized prescriptions of what the student needs to do in order to pass their high school equivalency exam, that data's been out there for a while. So these, and by the way, I'm a big believer in those. I think if the student knows what they're good at and what they need help with, it can help with their advancement of their educational process. I really believe that is true. And there's tons of language and writing tools out there to assist ESL students with translation stuff and everything else. There's one tool that I was just kind of playing around with. A friend of mine told me to do it before I went to France. It's Duolingo. By the way, I'm not endorsing products. I'm just telling you my experience. But I paid the $99 a year, and I've probably learned more French by using that AI tool in 1 year than I did with 3 semesters of French at the University of Florida and 4 years in high school. And it has made a big, big difference. And it really does. It actually builds the lessons around where you're at. It says like, well, you need to work on some vocabulary. It'll automatically give you some vocabulary to work on before you can advance to something else. And it does mix conversation, which I know adult ESL students want that more than anything. Um, conversation tools and everything else. Really, it's a really nice tool, and it's a free tool. That I paid for the premium, but they do have a freemium, industry word, by the way, that does have a few free things in there before they ask you for your credit card number itself. And also, this is a big one for students too: career development tools, resume builders, prep stuff. And I got a few of those websites in this that are very, very good. And there's some of these things that we already use and have been using for years is really incorporating AI into their world to make life easier. Microsoft has with Copilot. LinkedIn has some AI resume building tools. X has some great stuff. Facebook, it's doing a great job with AI. So and Google's got one. So always look at your vendors, which that's a tip I put in here. Always talk to your vendors that you work with, or what are some of the AI solutions they're coming up with, maybe at no additional charge, and stuff. For teachers, this right here, I wish AI was around. I mean, I started my teaching career in 1991 where you had to have the old calculator out, and that was even controversial back then to do your grades and everything. The whole idea of an automated lesson, grade figuring thing was not in the books for about 5 or 6 years. And now you have AI to help create assessment tools and feedback tools, grading tools. I can see where this is reducing the load for a teacher like really, really, really quick. And I remember the days of trying to create lesson plans and having your assistant principal come around and see how well you did with it and so forth. Now they have these tools that'll do it with them, and build assessment tools to help check where the students are at as well. And it individualizes the stuff, differentiates all kinds of stuff. There's one tool on here I'm going to show everybody that I think you will absolutely love itself. And there's also for classroom management AI tools that I stumbled across this week, which I thought are pretty cool, and that are just absolutely powerful. And it even tells you how to allot the time in your classroom, which is great. But basically, it empowers the teachers and the students to achieve more itself. Safeguards, and I definitely want to cover this for a few minutes because I know a lot of people have questions and maybe even concerned or maybe even scared a little bit of AI. First of all, don't be scared, and there's reasons I get why people have concerns. There's been a very large school district in California that decided to let AI just run free. And then there was a very large school district up in the New York area that decided they were going to clamp it down. So there really is it's starting to become more in line, but there has been this very vast, wide range of barriers when it comes to AI itself. Now I think it's starting to become a little more fine. However, these are some of the concerns. There's always bias with AI. It may have limitations, and the bias there, by the way, is because of the information that's out there for it to look at. It's not because of some other bias, but that's the reason why. Also, student privacy. And when you do talk to administrators about this is the number one thing that they talk about. And I know some states take privacy a little more, not I want to use the word extreme, a little more cautious than other areas itself. So, you got state laws, and of course, the United States is 50 state laws with several territories in the District of Columbia. How do you use those? How do you go through that without making sure the student's information isn't thrown out there? Because that might be a violation of law. And then over reliance. This one right here, I think, is the biggest concern. If we're telling students to do everything by AI, or students are doing everything by AI and not being guided how to use AI the right way as a supportive tool and not a replacement, it could be a problem. In fact, I read an article in the Atlantic, I believe it says America is actually getting dumber because of AI, because it's not really starting to think and do critical stuff. They're just having everything rolled out to them. So, and I also think, and here's some best practices: train students how to evaluate AI content for accuracy. Make sure that you tell students immediately that it's not always correct. Do the trust and verify thing. Also, talk about the ethical use AI uses in class, when it comes to, images. Now, AI is getting better in that. You can't just tell it to, okay, give me a picture of the football coach at Ohio State, hanging out at the club or something. It will come back and tell you, no, that is an individual, it's a public figure, they're not going to do that. That, I think, it's starting to take care of itself a little bit. But definitely talk to them about those particular types of uses itself, and ask students what they were using to help them to evaluate their tools for their needs, to make sure they're using the right tools, or you get them to the right person who can tell them what the right tools are. And sometimes you find out students are using some pretty good stuff. It could be something that you could use yourself. Also, use the 80-20 rule. Let AI handle the initial 80% of your draft, and then add the final touches in the last 20%, to kind of give it your own feel and your own language. You can clearly tell when somebody has done something on Chat GPT and it lands on your desk. They put all those little emojis in there and stuff. It's all the same font. You could tell it was done by them. And also trust your judgment. AI is a good starting point, but not the final solution. Always adhere to your school's guidelines as well. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a second too. And here's some real life tools, and I'm going to show some of these tools for AI tools for the classroom itself. Of course, the big one is Chat GPT. I think everybody is pretty familiar with that. 6 months ago, I probably couldn't have said that, but today everyone is. And it does do a nice job of generating some lessons, activities, and explanations, where you can keep on, going into like a little rabbit hole to keep on asking it more questions and more stuff, and having a conversation with it. And I think that's what makes Chat GPT a little bit different than Google. It actually kind of helps you build that stuff. Grammarly has been around for a while, and I really do like Grammarly, because Grammarly basically helps you with the grammar, clarity, and style. And I used to be a person that thought, well, this was just helping people cheat. I really did feel that way. And then when I started using Grammarly to write some doctoral level type of papers, when I was working on my doctorate, I did find that Grammarly was helping me fix some of these grammar mistakes that I've been making for years. It really pointed out stuff like, present tense versus past tense, where to use the commas, some of those common mistakes that we all make. And it really made me a better writer just because of using this tool. Seeing those mistakes done that many times, you finally start to clear those things up. That's where I think Grammarly has been a powerful impact on me itself. In addition to running things through it to make sure you don't make some stupid error and embarrass ourselves, that's where I think Grammarly is good. Khan Academy has some great personalized academic support for students through their AI tutor program. These are programs that students and teachers can use. Many school districts already subscribe to Khan Academy. See, and that's what I'm basically saying here at the bottom. Ask what your tech people what you already have. Quillbot Claude is great, a summarizing tool. You can put a huge document and it kind of tells you exactly what it means. It kind of paraphrases it and does it. I used that program quite a bit when I was working on my doctorate. I'd start reading it and I'd say, well, I'm not 100% sure, stick it in there. And it would give me a nice summary of what it was. And of course, I mentioned Duolingo. It's strictly on an app, so the students would have to use it on their phone. But it is a AI language learning system that ESL students can use or anybody else can use trying to learn a different language. It is fantastic and it's gamified and all those wonderful things. Also note that most of these tools do have free plans. They're called freemiums. They want to get you to a point where you really, really like it. Do you go like, well, I just got to pay the $20 a month. And I do have a lot of $20 a month subscriptions. I will say that. But though there is a big difference between the free and the paid plan. Also, as a disclaimer, I want to make sure this is pretty clear. Always ask your tech professionals and leaders if these tools are allowable by your district or college. There could be a reason for it. And mostly it evolves around the privacy issues, sharing emails, things of that nature. So I always ask. And also, if you ask, they may already have an AI tool that's better than what you were asking about. I don't know. During my career, it seems like I always missed those days when you found out you had something new, and then I caught myself by surprise. Like 6 months later, we've had this the whole time. That's the reason why it's never. Don't be afraid to ask. And also, they may have already vetted the product that is relevant for your program that provides premium tools. And also, check with your current vendors, as we talked about before. I know many people out there have some vendor product to help them with ESL instruction or GED instruction or IETs and things of that nature. What AI tools or how are they using AI in the classroom itself? So to help students with their things. So definitely follow that thing there, and you'll be really good. Now, for career prep, here's some great tools for students themselves, as we talked about before. Zeti is wonderful. I use Zeti myself, actually, when I do proposals and everything else for clients. Resume.io is great. Mock interviews, interview warm up by Google. I believe that one is completely free too, is another great one. And of course, LinkedIn is free, and there's a premium version of LinkedIn as well. But I always encourage students when I ran programs, hey, there's two things you want to get: Twitter account because you can really follow the trends, and of course a LinkedIn account. Those two things I think are important, and a LinkedIn account, and that also teaches students how to be professional on social media at the same time with LinkedIn. And there is some great research and career exploration tools out there that are really at no cost. And students can also explore AI careers like data analytics, coding, and robotics. If they really like AI itself can actually go into different fields. And also, students should be taught how AI can help them in the workplace. This is one thing that I did way back in the day that I think holds true probably more than ever today. I used to tell students all the time, hey, when you get out there to the workplace, they're not going to give you a quiz to see if you get a 90% on it. They're not going to train you on that stuff. They're going to ask you to collaborate, work together, work in projects. And if it's not 100%, they're going to make you do it again until it's 100%. In fact, that was controversial back in the day when I did it. I made students do all their work until they got 100% on it, because that's what they're going to have to do in the workforce. But have them work collaboratively as a team and how to use AI to build these elaborate projects, because that's what they're going to have to do in the workforce. And they will learn more doing it that way than just prompting AI and turning it in a paper. So I think you can use AI as a tool to really engage students even more than we ever have before. But yeah, try to mirror your classroom as much as the workforce as much as possible, and collaborative as much as possible. I think and plus students like it too. Here are some free resources for teachers. ChatGPT, as we mentioned, for creation content. They can do Q&As to ask students questions. Google Bard's pretty good, especially if you're doing some research and learning. That's probably more for the college level. Edmodo, which has been around forever, has a platform on classroom management, which I thought was cool. Then there's the Khan Academy. Otter AI is wonderful. Otter AI is so good that I subscribe to it. It actually shows up to meetings on Zoom for me that I accidentally miss or I have to miss, and everything else. So it kind of runs around and it really gives you a nice transcription of that Zoom meeting itself. And this is a great tool, especially with students with disabilities. This could be a nice tool. And there, Otter does have an app as well that can actually listen to it. Just encourage students, and I always do. If you're going to record me, come up and talk to me about it. Tell me why. And usually, if it's around a disability issue or something, of course, I'm going to say yes. But it is a great tool for that situation. Or if the students are working on a project together and they want to record it, that's perfectly fine too. I think that is a big, big help. As in addition to that, Poe.com, which is one that has multiple AI tools on it. Magic School AI, which we are going to talk about, is wonderful. Brisk teaching. GitHub Copilot through Microsoft is great for code. If you have an IET going with code generation and some STEM stuff, that's good. Student AI, and I just saw I made a typo in there, which I need to fix. Student AI.app is a 24/7 AI tutoring tool that helps students with essays and all that kind of stuff. And I really like Penzium. It basically turns videos, quizzes, and all kinds of stuff into study guides for students, which is great. And of course, the teacher can use that as well to help create study guides for their classroom. Because I always found that if I gave the students a study guide, they tend to do better on the tests. I always found that to be a true statement. But basically, the key takeaways is AI is already a part of our lives and offers endless possibilities for education and workforce prep. It increases productivity for the teachers, and it should ease your workloads by a lot. And for students, it will align their skills with the modern workplace, or these skills that they're learning in the classroom with the modern workplace. And of course, we got to use these tools responsibly with safeguards in place. And I think those safeguards may have already, in many cases, been determined by your school district or your supervisors. But always ask to see if there is an AI policy out there. It's probably always good to have that. And also, I would say too, if you're personally using Chat GPT and all that stuff, link your personal email address to it instead of your work email address for many numerous reasons. But if you do have the paid version of it, that's use your personal stuff on that. If your school district has these personal tools, you might want to avoid using it to, get a good casserole recipe or something like that with your work version of it. So try to keep work and play a little separate when it comes to AI. That's just a tool for the wise. I think that'll keep everybody out of trouble. And look at and basically always look at AI tools today and continuously look at them. I do think there's going to be winners and losers in AI. It's going to be kind of like the dot-com boom. Things will be here today, and maybe some will go by tomorrow, and then big players will have this and everything else. So I think it's important to always stay on top of what's coming, the latest trends, and of course integrate the best ones into your classroom itself. And these are some questions you always want to ask and remember. How can AI help you with your specific role? So if you're an administrator, how can AI help you with that? Might be for time management. They've had these tools out there for a while that you had to pay a whole lot of money for to really hone tune your time. There's some AI tools out there that'll really just kind of fill your calendar for you with things you have to do that are linked to your email. I use that one of those tools, and it works pretty good. And it kind of helps you make sure that you get that you're most efficient with the 30 hours or 40 hours you're working a week. AI, and I think for many reasons, AI will be here to assist teachers, not to replace them. Um, I can think of several reasons why. One, I think people do want human interaction. I think another reason is you can't throw 30 students in a classroom with no supervision. I could see attorneys having a good time with that one. And also, I people have to work and they got to send their kids to a place, to watch them while they're working on their career itself. So I don't think teachers necessarily go away. I did do a presentation in Utah this past week, and one of the teachers in there, she pushed back, and she pushed back well. It was fine. And she was going like, well, I do worry about it for adult ed because people may do this at home and may not have to go to class. She brought that up, and I thought that was a valid point. But I also believe that people do need to really do want that human interaction and really want that one-on-one tutoring and that personal help. I think it makes you more accessible to students. AI can clearly do that. Always make sure to address the privacy concerns and ethical concerns of your district, your state, your school district, college, nonprofit, whatever your world is. Make sure that that is addressed, and encourage hands-on approach when integrating these students to students. Show students how to use them, the best practices of it. Use AI to tell you how to teach this AI tool, to the students itself and how to use it effectively, and give lessons specifically um, to use the AI in that particular way so students get the best out of it. And once again, find out what AI tools your students are using. One, to protect them, and two, maybe you'll find some golden gems out there, because I have, of students. Perplexity was one of them that I found was a wonderful tool that one of my college students was using. Now let's look at some tools. Let me see if I can do this real quick. Here's a good old chat GPT. And I think most of you know what this is, but I wanted to show you some of these things over here. There's a new chat, and you can also, these chats also kind of kind of record themselves and hold themselves, especially if you have the paid version. And you can always go back to look at it. Here, I was doing a proposal for ACTI, for instance. I can go in there and check it out. One of my clients wanted me to do a cookie draft, so I used this. I came up with a draft, and then I ran it by my attorney to make sure it was okay. And by the way, I got a brand new French Bulldog puppy, and I wanted to see what he looked like in about 2 months. So I use it for that. So I use mine for a little play and a little bit of things like that. And also, I wanted to know more about the home run records in the Major League Baseball. And I was really starting to ask a bunch of questions and really just went down memory lane. And you could create projects where there's several people working at them. And then, of course, their library. You can actually, any pictures that you created, you can press that up and you have it all banked right there. So it's really a pretty cool particular thing. Here's Magic School. I went and signed up for a free account myself, and it is absolutely fantastic. It has all kinds of cool little things in there, like worksheet generator, multiple choice quizzes, presentation generator that makes some pretty decent slides. This one does a pretty good job with it. Report card comments. What are some of the other ones here? A student asked me to write a letter of recommendation the other day, and I went right on here, letter of recommendation, to actually generate it for me. Stories for social media, unit plan generator. You go down through their Jeopardy game. It has so much stuff here that you can really use to really help you out. It just keeps on going and going and going. And they add more to it all the time. PD planner, chats with docs. It has coaching's practice in here, which I thought was pretty cool. Man, I remember back in the day when I was assigned to coach girls soccer, I had to go buy the books at Barnes and Nobles and read the books. This right here actually gives you full practice on generating the time of practice, the whole 9 yards. I wish I had this. That's for sure. Magic School does not disappoint. They have a free version. They have a paid version as well. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I think this is my personal favorite is this one right here. It's good old Magic School. And there's one Zeddy for students themselves, or I don't know if you're looking for an upgrade or something. It could be good for the folks on the call as well. But you could create a resume pretty quick here, and it has all the latest good looking resumes. I know my resume I created probably back in the 90s, and I just kept on updating and updating it. I mean, it never disappointed. I got what I wanted, but at the end of the day, it doesn't look cool like these. With the latest buzzwords and everything else to make the resume just a little bit better, and it prompts you along the way. It'll ask you like how many years of experience, like right here. I'll hit it right now. If you have no experience, less than 3, you have 10 years of experience. Are you a student? Yes. You have a high school diploma or GED. It'll choose the templates, and it really kind of looks at those skills that you want in order to do it. It really does a nice job itself. Here's one of my favorites. This one here, you do have to have an X account, or formerly known as Twitter, to do it. But Gronk is absolutely fantastic, and this one is really has a lot of AI tools, and also it's good too if you're on social media, if you're on X, you can actually go on there if there's a post on there and ask it, "Hey, is this real?" Let me see if I can do that real quick. Yeah, right here. This guy is a dark horse for the thing. I can go here and go, Gronk, is this real? I can sit here and determine if it's real news or fake news. Let's see what Gronk has said. It has not replied yet, but it will. It will eventually get back and tell you what it's actually done, and everything else. But back to Gronk, it's right here on their site. I can have ask it anything. Like, I want to create an image. I want now, since it's Florida Mississippi State this weekend, give me a picture of a baby gator and a baby bulldog sitting in a classroom. Let's see what it does. And you just prompt it, and it actually does pretty cool stuff. Let's see what happens. There it is. There you got a baby bulldog and a gator sitting in a classroom, and so forth. Well, I don't like that one. I'm going to say, like, can you make it more cartoon? See what happened. They look too friendly together. There we go. No, I like that better. It's a little more friendlier. You got little two gators there. And so you can put two gators in there. And see, this is where it's not perfect. See, this gator's got like 3 eyes and everything else. So once again, you have to go in and refine it and ask it, like, why does this one have like a baby sitting under it, things of that nature. So, it's not a perfect world, but it does give you a nice start. And by the way, they're getting better and better and better. Gronk really does these top ones like really well itself. So those are just a few great examples of some AI tools that are out there for everybody to really to really enjoy. And like I said, really just go through and look at them as much as possible. Let me show you my toolkit that I got for everybody here, for basically signing up. The only thing I ask is I put my phone number and my email address on there. And I don't care if you use it and share it with other people, just email me ahead of time so I can make sure that you have the most up-to-date version out there. And I'll just email it to you, because I don't want to send you some links that maybe some companies that are no longer around. So I definitely always go back and refine this about once a month itself. But this little handbook I'm going to give you, and I created this with tax dollars, so it's free to everybody who wants to use it. The history of AI, it has promising practices that are out there, like language support for ESL learners, career prep, and it's a little more detailed, and I have resources hooked to it. So if you're looking for that research-based document, I'm not going to disappoint you with this one. And it actually gives you some different tools. Like here it goes a little bit deeper about Chat GPT and what it can do. Here's Canva. Canva is another great tool that I forgot to put onto the PowerPoint itself. Canva has some nice AI tools now that can help you create some nice graphics and also some images for your classroom as well. You go through it. There's the Google stuff, Microsoft Copilot, Grammarly. Go through the list. I created quite a few of them here for it, and I always add on to this more and more as we go on. So this is my gift to you to really go through it and enjoy itself. In fact, here is the link, the the version that's out there on the web that I will, in case you cannot wait, I will put it right here into the chat. Boom, there you go. So it actually will, oh, that's just going to Bethel. I'm sorry, Bethel. Let's get that to everybody. Boom, there you go. So we can, do that. I think that would be grateful. I really wanted to give you something just a little bit more than what we do. Anyway, let me go through here and see if there's any questions in here. Oh, there's a lot of, by the way, we got people here internationally today. Very good. Oh, Petoskey, Michigan. I've been there at a motorhome spot. I love it up there. Boston, North Carolina, Baltimore. Happy Friday. Ontario, very nice. Georgia. Keep the name of the tool. I just sent it to you right there. And what do I think of School AI? School AI is a great tool. It is not bad at all. I probably should add that to the toolkit. I've actually met with some of their folks before, and they do have some pretty good stuff. And I know they're pretty big out west. Good stuff. Now, yeah, libraries. I love this. Thanks for this comment here. Definitely go check. Most libraries offer free access to LinkedIn Learning, which is so true. And definitely, the library is the most hidden gem. Whoever thought it would end up becoming a hidden gem? When we grew up, we always went to the library. Of really some of the tools out there that if you just have a library card, you can have a lot of these things for absolutely no cost. So yeah, definitely make that trek to the library and take your students there. I totally agree with that. Thanks for that tip. That will be going into my PowerPoint. Call it, oh yes, student study guide for exams. Absolutely. Somebody here offers many courses and subjects for free. This is ed.gcfglobal.org. I will put that into the guide itself, and when that goes out. Yeah, thanks for all this stuff. This is really, really good. See here. Oh, someone here loves Magic School. Yay. Notebook. Yeah, Notebook is something students have been using like crazy. I need to check that one out. Have not seen that one. Will you get a certificate for the webinar? I guess that's something, I think that's something Bethel's going to have to answer. Yes, ChatGPT will cite sources. Yes, it will cite sources if you ask it to. Perplexity does do that already because I know you mentioned Perplexity. I'm a big fan of Perplexity myself, especially when I do more legal documents and do more contracts and everything else. I really rely on it just a little bit more than everything else. So, all right. Is there any other questions on here? If you want to tag in at the end, I'll see if I can answer them. See here. Somebody used Gronk, yes. And you're all welcome. Okay. Yeah, the 80-20 rule. I do love that 80-20 rule and everything else. Well, anyway, as we close here, we got a webinar poll here. Go ahead and do that one. So let's get a QR code too.
Yeah, I think the QR code is something new, so I'm not sure
Okay,
about that.
gotcha.
To answer the questions, yes, everyone will receive the recording link following the webinar. You also will receive your certificate, but please allow 24 hours once the webinar ends, and you'll receive your certificate as well in your email. And then we're also going to send the PDF that Jeff shared as well. So we'll do the recording link and the PDF just in case you missed it. So you have his toolkit as well. And then you can email him or call him if you have any more questions. And we thank everyone for joining us. And
Yeah, and right here, Bethel, I forgot to put in my contact information here on the last slide. If anyone wants to get a hold of me, just call me up. I don't charge or anything like that. If you have any questions or anything, or if you have a group of people you would like me to do this presentation for, I'd be more than happy to do that as well at no cost. I really don't mind doing it. So there's my cell phone number, even though it's an Orlando number, but I do live in Las Vegas. So if you call, make sure it's after 10 o'clock on the East Coast. And there's my X account as well. And I'm also on LinkedIn too. Encourage everyone to follow me on LinkedIn. I always follow back. And same with X as well. So any questions, just drop me an email or text me and everything else. So yes, I think that's thank you, Bethel, and thank you, Coabe, and thanks for all 100 and some people on this call today. Well, I want to thank you all as well for participating, taking a little time out of your Friday to learn a little bit about AI and our sponsor as well.
Thanks, Jeff. And thank you, Connectable as well for sponsoring this great webinar. And we hope you guys all have a great weekend. Thank you so much.
Thank you.